an entire village accepting Islam. Now, being part of that is possible. By donating to this IERA project, it will help many people accept Islam in Africa and equip them to practice it. Link in the description. Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. I have a tragic tale. A tale of woe and sadness. And this entails an individual who is a career Islamophobe. He needs Islamophobia to make money to put food on the table for his family. So the tale of woe, guys, came to a successful end a couple of days ago, frankly, where this individual was invited to the PBD podcast hosted by Patrick Bet David, who is also a Christian. He invited 2 Christians and 2 Muslims. These 2 Christians were career Islamophobes. One of them in particular, Robert Spencer, and this is whose tale of woe I'm about to narrate to you. He is an individual who had New York bestsellers. Bestsellers on what, I hear you ask? Well, he has written over 20 books against Islam. Oh yes, none of them are peer-reviewed, which means academically checked by people in the field. 2 of his books were used by the FBI, and the FBI used this, and I quote, as training materials. What were they training against, I hear you ask? It seems like they were training against true knowledge about Islam, mate, by equipping themselves with Islamophobia. To such a degree that in 2013 he was even banned here in the UK. Anders Breivik, who was a Norwegian who killed 77 people, who's regarded as a T. The media called him a T, and you know when the media calls a non-Muslim who's white a T rather than mentally ill, you know these people are a piece of work. And this Breivik mentioned our mate Robert Spencer 64 times in his manifesto of death. I mean, normally when you're on a panel, you got 2 Christians, 2 Muslims. You expect the Muslims to work together, the Christians to work together, and the host is a Christian as well. But this tale of woe is not yet at its completion.
It's not as if it's some free-for-all. Patrick, excuse me, you're interrupting once again, and I never interrupted you.
No, I'm asking a permission.
Just a second.
Okay.
How embarrassing!
Speaking about his co-host, who claims to be an ex-Muslim, couldn't make up his mind about why he left Morocco. Was it because he was homeless, or was it because of a lack of freedom of religion?
Leave my family, actually. They rejected me. I lived as a homeless for 2 years, and I had to live underground with the Moroccan church, the converts, until 2005. I had to flee the country.
2005, you have to flee the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me, for example, why I left Morocco. I love Morocco. I would love to live among my family, but I left not because of the economy. I was doing well, but because I don't have freedom of religion.
Now Robert, who claims to be a proud Christian when pressed on his faith, he claimed that the principle in his book was evil. So he claimed that something in the Bible that God did, who they believe is Jesus, was evil.
So why did your God order the killing of infants?
There's no reason to cover up that fact that these passages have caused difficulty.
It's very difficult.
And some people would say, actually, these things never happened at all. That they were they were fables.
We have the seeds of the destruction of Christianity right in this podcast. When you look at the way that Robert and Rashid describe the Bible, they describe it as a book of fables, and it can continue to evolve. Can you even call them Christians?
Now this is enough to wrap up the whole discussion and debate. It's as simple as that. In Islam, if you reject a verse of the Quran, that's it. You can be expelled from the religion. And even his fellow Islamophobes, his fellow Christian brethren, even they ended up exposing him.
And I really think they caught, I think that maybe they caught him off guard a little bit. And it was like, I hate to say this, I love Rashid. He's the first time I ever was on TV was with Rashid,
He's not a debater, and he's not that equipped in the Hebrew scriptures. I know him too, I met him, but see, people have to know, this is what I was trying to say earlier. Everyone has to know their gifting and stay within their lane and gifting. When you venture out of your calling and gifting, then it becomes an embarrassment. He brings in Mike Tyson. He brings in NFL players, Hollywood stars. He's huge. He's not some Joe Schmo. That's what makes it more embarrassing. That's what he was trying to set up Robert Spencer. And he did set him up, and Spencer did fall for it. If killing apostates is inherently evil, and then God legislates the killing of apostates, then you're saying that God is inherently evil. See, this is a mistake of not knowing your Old Testament.
You see, that was the point where Robert kind of got off, because he was trying. He said it wasn't moral. This is where he dropped the ball. Damn. He answered presumptuously. He answered quickly instead of thinking about the Old Testament. This is the problem with many of these apologists. They're not trained in the Old Testament.
Imagine that. You go on a big platform, the PBD podcast, who invites the likes of Mike Tyson, Habib Nurmagomedov, Tate, NFL stars. You go on such a big platform to face the individuals whom you have been writing these books about, and you end up rejecting your own book, mate. When you've been doing something for your whole life, he's got grey hairs, yeah? He's gone grey because of the supposed war against Islam, and he was face to face with Muslims on a big podcast, and his own fellow brethren are saying he lost, and how badly he lost, how embarrassing, how shameful. And you know what? This is what happens to such hate mongers. When faced with the truth, these people crumble. They're like a pile of ash. One gust of wind comes, they start getting scattered everywhere. There's no substance to these individuals. From a distance, it looks like a big, mound or a molehill or a mountain. But up close, all it takes is one gust of wind. To such a degree that if you see the comments, people were saying the Muslims were defending Christianity more than the Christians. These Christians ended up being secular liberals, using the mask of Christianity. Even the Christians were disowning these individuals because they are kowtowing to the secular liberal paradigm that we're seeing around us. This very paradigm that's telling us that you don't know the difference between a boy and a girl and a man and a woman. You just don't know, mate. It's do what thou wilt. Ironically, which is a saying that's attributed to one of the occultists of this country, Aleister Crowley. Then the icing of the cake. He went on Twitter fighting and blocking Bear Man. Loads of people. Even Andrew Tate's brother, Tristan Tate, who's a Christian, said, you know what, mate? You lost, mate. You lost. And somebody goes, hey, yo, be careful. He might block you. He's blocking loads of people, mate. And he goes, yeah, I've been blocked too. What a joke. Then he starts attacking his fellow Christian host to such a degree, he goes, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if he became a Muslim. Just imagine, your arguments are so dead. Academically, you're so weak and pathetic that you're scared that your host, who's a Christian, might become a Muslim. And the Christians didn't talk about Jesus, didn't preach Christianity, did not do justice, that even the Christians were on the side of the Muslims, that they are defending traditional values. And then Patrick Bet-David responds and goes, you know what, they came prepared, you didn't. In other words, take it on the chin, son, you lost. Now this individual who has been employed by think tanks, anti-Islamic think tanks, who's been invited to rallies, right-wing rallies like the EDL, who has spoken and written against Islam, and then he gets a chance to come face to face on a platform to smash these Muslims, apparently. And he can't even manage to defend his own book, let alone that, not even preach his own faith. Sad. This, ladies and gentlemen, was a tale of woe of this Islamophobe who perished in the worst way possible. Publicly embarrassed, stripped in front of everybody, and everybody was pointing and laughing, even his own people. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens. Let's leave it there. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.